So,
release an album now, Universal getting some money because they have shares in Spotify. They have shares in, it's one little world.
this is Collie Buddz, and you're watching World Music Views right here on the internet.
Come on, big up, Collie Buddz.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to World Music Views. I was watching your interview last night with Irie FM, and you said you own a radio station, right?
Yeah. 503 FM. Yeah, in Bermuda.
Is it the only reggae radio station down there?
So it's a top 40 station, but Caribbean top 42 as well. So we mix everything in. So we have everything top 40, all genres.
And how long you been owning the station?
Since 2012.
Wow. So in a time when streaming is running the place, and you are one of Pandora's top reggae artists, I believe you're at like number 3 on Pandora. In a time when streaming running the place, why own a reggae station?
Wow, I didn't even know that, to be honest. I didn't know it was the top 3. Hold on, let me turn up the volume. Why own a radio? Well, so a radio station for me in Bermuda was lacking what was current, and I just felt like we needed to step up our game with the radio, with entertainment, like, as far as like listening wise. We were kind of stagnant there for a minute. I mean, a couple stations had came up and did that thing, but kind of just fell off a little bit. Like, we weren't current with the nowadays music worldwide, top 40, and obviously, today we have Throwback Thursday, and that's predominantly like, reggae music and stuff like that. But for me, it was just like we just needed to step up our game on current music. And so that's mainly the reason why I started the station. Me and my brother came up with the idea, and it was just an idea that went into fruition, and we made it happen, and been the number 1 radio station in Bermuda for last 12 years.
So I remember you first day out the gate, right? I was there in the panel discussion when you first came to Jamaica. You had a launch at Quad. You came with Columbia Records as a young youth. This was 2007, I believe. And the question was asked at the time, why would Columbia sign a non-Jamaican when in the same club, the same night, you had like 10 different artists going up? And the guy at the time, I remember who he was, he had dreads. He said that the labels are sort of tired of working with Jamaicans. They've since seen a lot of success with you. What is your impression on reggae now from 2007 till now? What's your impression on reggae, Jamaican reggae artists in particular?
Well, that's almost a double-sided question, because back in those days, first of all, I didn't really know the industry. I was young, naive, and I think the label definitely exploited the fact that, it's clear that I'm white. In the wintertime, I'm very pasty, almost opaque. And so I think that had a lot to do with, maybe me being signed. I mean, I have a little bit of talent, but at the same time, you have so many artists out there. Why they chose me, I think that could have been some of the reasons, and I won't go into any detail, but I was there in most of the meetings, and the things that were said were if you used to bring it up nowadays, I'm not gonna go into detail, but anyway, um, that I think was one of the reasons that they signed me in the first place. And I forget the other part of the question, but just at the end, we parted ways in not too long after I've been signed. I think it was signed for 3 years. I think I signed an agreement in 2005, and then 2007 my album came out, and then by 2009 we decided to part ways because me as an artist, I didn't feel like they were really feeling what I really wanted to do, and it was more like a flashy thing. They wanted to um, do things that not on my terms, and so we parted ways. And then in 2014 got signed again, which I felt a little more comfortable with. And but then again we parted ways again because it's major labels have a knack for not really caring about the artist's actual what they want to do. It's more on their terms, and so wasn't very comfortable with that. But anyway, what you saying? The guy you say you believe he has dreads was asking
At the time, but the question, you answer the first part. The second part of the question is, since you've been in reggae music, what is your impression on it from 2007 till now? Which is how many years?
so,
That's 20 years?
yeah.
How many years?
Yeah. How many years is that? Oh, my math is crazy. But yeah, what, 14 years? No. Jeez. All right, 3 plus carry. Anyway, how many
16
years?
years. 16 years.
16 years. Wow. Yeah. Well, back when, back in those times, reggae and the popular music, like whether it be hip hop or pop music, were together. Um, you couldn't go to a dance without hearing, if reggae's or pop music's playing, there'd be a Beanie Man on one of the biggest pop tracks, or then dancehall would kick in, and then into the hip hop. Like there was a very they were all together. And so I think that's changed a lot since then.
What do
You
you think
know,
caused the change?
I don't really know. I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like well, dancehall really drove the collaboration, like with hip hop and dancehall, right? Like, I mean, you had up tempo beats, and they both just went well together. And I'm not sure what really changed, like in as far as like dancehall to me now is almost it's trap sounds, but in a kind of dancehall Caribbean style. And so, but the two don't correlate when you're in a club. Like they're not gonna play, it doesn't. And mind you, I'm not really in the club a lot, like nowadays. So it's not like I could really tell, but like from hearing things, from younger people that I talk to, they don't really mesh as well as they used to. And so I think that's kind of the struggle. And music's changing, it's evolving, and I love it. Like it should forever evolve, and whether I get it or not, um, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? When you get older, you tend to go more nostalgic because that was popping when you were growing up, and you have these memories and all that stuff, and you never wanted to change, but change is good for the whole industry. And I think nowadays, I think everything's there's so much saturation of all artists, all genres, all music, that it's hard to put your finger on what is actually dancehall or trap or this, like, or pop or whatever. which is kind of a beautiful thing. Music is for everybody and it's subjective. And that's the main thing. It's subjective. So if you like something that somebody else don't like, that's all right. Or, it's a thing that we as far as like everybody can be a producer right now. Everybody can just have a laptop and hook up Pro Tools and start creating beats. We couldn't do that back in 2007 unless you had, $3,000 to drop on like a Mbox or whatever. You know what I mean?
I see you wearing a ring. You're married, right? How do you manage family life and being on the road? Because you tour a lot.
Yeah. Well, you should ask my wife that. It's she holds it down. We met in 2008, and we're married in 2010. So it's been a long time, and she always knew I was on the road a lot, and but she holds down the fort. It's a balance.
Yeah.
Balance that, yeah.
You blend seamlessly with the California reggae crowd, the Hawaiian reggae crowd. There's a show going on in Vegas next weekend called Reggae Rise Up. And that show has everybody in reggae except Jamaican reggae artists. But it's called Reggae Rise Up. Lila Ike is the only Jamaican reggae artist on it. Do you think there's a new emergence of a different type of reggae that is not in need of the root of reggae?
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that question because, here's the thing, Jamaica spawned this beautiful music for the world to enjoy. And so it's hard to be disgruntled about people who love the music so much that they want to emulate it and redo it or make it, make their own reggae. And so I find it hard to even answer that question because it's so universal, right? Reggae is worldwide. It's enjoyed by everybody. And so when other artists, when they love it so much, me included, like, I'm a white boy from Bermuda, but I love reggae music so much that I wanted to be a part of it. And yeah, I guess when you see it from one side, from your side, where you're saying like, do you think there should be? Sorry, what was the question again?
I said, do you think reggae, as it evolves in different markets, it won't need the Jamaican artists like Reggae Rise Up is happening?
Sorry. So no. It's always going to need that foundation, I believe. But it branch off just like every other thing in music. It's hard to tell what genre certain musics are nowadays. You have country singers singing on hip hop beats but they still call it country. You have rock people singing on pop beats, but it's still considered rock. It's the evolution of music. I think Jamaica will always be the foundation of reggae music, and nobody can compete with reggae artists from Jamaica singing reggae music. But yeah, when it's it's new territory, but I think it's a testament to it's a beautiful reminder of how reggae is so influential internationally that people love it so much that they want to recreate it, and I don't think you can knock them for that. And we have Jamaica to thank for that.
There's also the reverse, right? So these artists that Jamaicans see, Caribbean people see doing reggae, they've never been to Jamaica. They've never performed in Jamaica, right? Have you performed in Jamaica, and are you gonna bring your tour to Jamaica this time around?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I performed in Jamaica. Um, um, probably the most nerve-wracking performances I've ever done in my life. Um, I did Champions in Action. Um, Came out for, I think it was about 1.5 songs before somebody said, "Yo, get off the stage." But yeah, nah, and I did a couple other like club shows. I forget. Man, I wish I had. What was it called?
Quad, you launched out the first single come around in Quad in '07.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But nah, there was something before that. Anyway, um, yeah. I mean, but I was brought up on more in the scene. Like, I mean, from somebody who grew up in the Midwest or even California. There's a different um upbringing with the music. You know, I used to, sneak out and go to Sound Clash that was down the road, and or we all used to just, roll up to a Sound Clash in Bermuda that was going on, or a performance, because that's how the Island Vibes is, and yeah, 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 I guess I see what you're saying. For Yeah, I mean, they should touch down in Jamaica. Um, and but then where's the where's the response? Like, I mean, if they're not popping in Jamaica or nobody's heard of them, I mean, how can they perform there?
Well, there are lots of festivals that happen in Jamaica. Rebel Salute, Reggae Sumfest,
Yeah,
etc.
but you still have to be invited to those things, right?
Or you can reach out to the promoter and be like, yo, I have a tour coming up. I need to be on your show. Because I'm sure a lot of that happens in the US where artists and their management reach out to people. But I do think, one, if people start to understand, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to interview you, World Music Views is the premier music business show in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, right? I have another show called the Business and Entertainment Show with the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and we talk about how the culture is performing, how it's marketed worldwide, right? If Jamaicans and others start to see all the people that they don't know who are big reggae stars all over the world, if they start to see, maybe they'll start to empathize and understand your story and where you're coming from. And also they'll feel that, hey, this person did come and check us. This person did come and give us a performance, because the experience of reggae and the earth of reggae came from a place named Bakawal in Kingston, where people were actually struggling and trying to find a way to express themselves pre-Bob Marley, So I believe they'd empathize. You could empathize with them, and not just you, right? Because I think you're one of the more loved non-Jamaican reggae artists, because you collaborate a lot with Sizzla, Shaggy, whoever. Like you're very integrated in Jamaican artists, so they do appreciate you, and I think they'd love to see you. I do think so.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to come back to Jamaica and perform. Like, it's not even a question.
I'm gonna talk to my
And
brethren. I'm gonna talk to my brethren Tony Rebel, who does Rebel Salute.
we did Rebel Salute. I did Rebel Salute. Yeah, yeah. I was supposed to go on it at about, I think it was 11 o'clock, and then it got pushed back to 4 a.m. And by that time, I was twisted. And then they said you only got 5 minutes. I was like, yo, we're supposed to have 10. But I was not fighting that. I was like, yo, at 4 o'clock in the morning, that's prime time. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think that's another one. I only sung like 2 or 3 songs. I said not even 2 or 3. It was like one and a half. And yeah, cut. But that was good times. Yeah, it was yeah, out in the field there. Oh,
I think now with you as Collie Buddz, the top streaming artist, I think you could make certain demands and you know.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not even demands. It's just, I mean, I want there to be, you know, you know, you don't really go to certain. You want it to be a reaction. You know what I mean? And I think Love and Reggae, like I'll go out there and sing "Come Around" and Love and Reggae and cut. I'm good after that. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to showcase some of the music that might, be popping over this side of the world and not, how the thing go.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's talk music, right?
Yeah.
You hit the Billboard chart back to back to back. All of your albums, #1. You think this one going #1 next week?
Nah, not a chance. Nah, I probably won't even make top 10.
Why?
So they've changed up everything. So Billboard that's why usually Buddz would have hit #1. Stephen Marley #1. All these they would have hit #1. So they changed up the way that they calculate album sales. So a lot of artists do like bundles with so we do like a bundle with the CD and a t-shirt. They don't count those anymore. They don't count certain things so as album sales. And so it's basically you're gonna see Bob up the top, which I mean he should be all the time, and then more the like, Shaggy, Sean Paul, you're gonna see that as a trend, like because they switched up the way they calculate the albums and all that. Which
So what is it?
before
What is it that's the way they calculate why new albums find it hard to enter the charts?
So, and my manager could explain it all. I actually wanted to talk to him today about, because I thought this question would come up. Because I saw some of your posts, like, Buddz failed to make top 10 and all that. 2 years ago, he would have been #1 with the sales and all that. And he could go more into depth. That's what he does. He's analysis. He, analyzes all that stuff. But the way they've done it, I really can't explain it. But they've taken off a lot of the things that would make an album go to #1 off of that. Hold on. Sorry.
I'd love to talk to him. I definitely love to talk to him.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. And yeah, pick his brain on that because it's not fair to say and Stephen Marley just made top 10, which that album would have been #1. So they've changed. I want to say algorithm, but it's not an algorithm. It's just the way they've calculated things. As far as album sales, like previous. If you release a single, they don't calculate that. As far as streams and all that, that was a single. But if it's on the album, they used to push that into the album and would help your.
One of the things they do, because we have a relationship with Luminate. That's where we get all our data from, right? So whatever you sell first week, only that goes towards the chart. But there's also lifetime numbers, which we also publish, the lifetime numbers, which include previously released singles and all of that. But I do get you that they only do the
So it's only first week. So the second week doesn't matter anymore. The second week does not count, and that I don't know why they switched it up, but it's maybe it's towards the major labels because they know they run everything. I don't know what it is, but they've etched that out of the system. So yeah, but talk to Igor and
I did. Igor is your manager. I did interview Igor.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Igor Katz. Right. Yeah. I didn't know Igor was your manager because it was Adam that I reached out to for you.
Oh, got you. All right.
But let's go back into your music now. So you dropped the self-titled album. You dropped two albums last year, Collie Roots 2020 and then Collie Roots 2021, was it? Or 2022?
Nah, it was 2021, I think was no, it was 2022 and 2023 because 2020 and 2021 nobody was doing nothing, like, you know.
So those Collie Roots albums, what was the idea behind just a compilation that you wanted to put out? Was it an album obligation or something?
No. There's no obligations where I'm at. I have zero obligations to anybody. That's the beauty of being independent. But it was just an idea that we came up with because you know, I enjoy the Cali Roots Festival. It's one of the biggest reggae festivals in the States. And when I say reggae, you know, yes, there's a lot of, you know, bands that Caribbean people won't know, but it's still reggae to me. And you know, I enjoy that festival. They've I've been on there since man, I can't even remember. I remember when it first started, and you know, they've been very good to me. And we just decided one day in the studio, you know, we're all just sitting around just browsing ideas, and we say, yo, let's make this beat a rhythm. And because I enjoy back in the day we used to have a rhythm CDs, like the Madhouse CDs, and you know, all those compilations, like, you know, you have two rhythms on one CD, but it'd be like 8 hours on one and 8 hours on the next, like, you know. I miss those days. And so something nostalgic that we just all came up and say, yo, let's make it a Cali Roots rhythm, and everybody who's performing on this year of Cali Roots will do you know, see if they could sing on the rhythm. And that's really how it came about. That was it.
And now where I Take It Easy, your fourth studio album, right?
Fourth, yep.
And this is totally independent. Your label distributed by Ineffable.
Yep.
Who's on it? Just tell us who's on it. I listened to it already, but let's just tell them who is on it.
Yeah, so Bounty Killer on Twisted Agenda. Danny Towers, who's popping off in well, worldwide, from Florida. DeMarco, who I rate as an artist, producer, everything. You know what I mean? DeMarco is, he's a genius when it comes to it. So I rate him. And also Cypress Hill, Be Real. You know, I had to get him on a Gunja track. You know what I mean? And especially when I talk about California weed. I think that was a deal sealer. He was like, yo, all right, yeah, talk about the California weed, man. I'm on it. But you know, give it that nostalgic kind of feel to you know, back on my first album was you know, a lot of hip hop orientated tunes, and you know, like we had Crazy Bone, and hopefully he's gonna be all right. All right, he's in the hospital. But yeah, so it's like more nostalgic you know, feeling. But yeah, that's the features there. And you know, as far as the producers, Fat Babs from France, big up to him, because it's one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's called Mr. Wicked. And you know, a little more easy listening, and just, yeah. But I'm excited about this album.
Would you sign another record deal?
No.
Why?
Not if it's not with Ineffable, then no. Because well, it depends on what the deal is. And when I say that, is that major label deals, there's no good deal. And so I wouldn't. Because they'll always find a way to get the best of everything. Own your masters. You know, your whatever they spend on marketing, you pay back this much to go into this much that you owe, but then they're making this much on top of that. I mean, so back in the day, I know a lot's changed with the 360, but they did the 360 so they can get money off your merchandise and tour money and all that stuff. So that's what I mean. It's just, it's money comes right back around to them. That's the 360. And it's a shame because a lot of you see, I mean, you've seen it. A lot of artists like sign to major labels thinking, you know, hey, good fat paycheck up front, and then you never hear from them again. And they're probably making nothing off of, even if they had a big hit, because the major labels taking all of that and they're still recouping. It took me 2007. I recouped in 2020. So what's that? 13 years to recoup off my first album. That's a long time to recoup just to start seeing money, especially, I mean, I was lucky enough to keep touring and having a fan base so I could keep some income coming. But if you weren't able to do that, then how, you know, you can't spend 13 years waiting to make, you know, a couple dollars off the album that you did 13 years ago. That's not, you know, and they own your masters forever. It's just not. No, I would never do that, because here's another thing. Say you sell an album, you're signed to a label. You're probably getting, the best deal you can get is like $1.29 off. If you sell a CD for $10 or $9.99, whatever, make it $10 for, you know, calculation's sake. And you sell it for $10. Your $1.29 that you make goes back to the money they spent. So they get let's say $1, just for easy sake. So they get $9. You sell it for 10, they get 9. Your $1 goes back to them to pay off your debt. So now they're getting $9 off a they're getting $10 because they're getting the money back. But your $1 goes back into your recoupment of what they spent on the album. Say they spent $1 million. So your $1 for every album goes back to paying off $1 million. Meanwhile, they're taking the $9. And that's how labels work.
Do you own your masters from the first album? Do you own your masters from the first album?
No, we've been trying to buy it back, but they ain't letting that go.
So they have finally, the herbs come around. It's owned by Sony.
Owned by Sony.
Wow. And what would you have to do to get it back?
There's nothing we could do to get it back. I mean, we've offered crazy stats to get it back, and they ain't taking it. So
if you ain't never gonna happen. As an exclusive to World Music Views, what was your signing advance with Sony in 2007? I
don't want to go into details. Like, can we not go into details?
Ballpark figure. You don't have to give me the exact figure.
For what? The advance?
Yeah, like, no, what was the deal? You don't have to tell me like what they gave you. Just what was the deal? Was it a $1 million deal?
No. It was less than $1 million. Yeah. It was just above $250,000. So it wasn't crazy. But you know, but the deal was, I would think the deal was better than a 360. Because the 360 just it rips everything out of you. I mean, merchandise, all that stuff. It's not, you know, it's not fair, and they know. And then, you know, the publishing deal is even worse when it comes down to it. You know, I signed a bad publishing deal too. I'll never, you know, never recoup that. Nah, it was BMG, I think. But you know, that's the breaks. You live and you learn. And but I would say to all artists out there, you know, it's a paycheck. And again, they take advantage of when you see a number, you're like, what? You know what I mean? And then they give you the promise of you know, hey, you're gonna. It's a thing. It's you know, just watch out and just be assured that if you're confident enough, you could do it on your own and go independent. you know, but again, you know, independent nowadays too as well is a little sticky because I know a lot of the labels own like a lot of the streaming platforms too as well. So it's almost like you're kind of stuck in this circle of
You
things. So
release an album now, Universal getting some money because they have shares in Spotify. They have shares in, you know, it's one little world.